Few people outside of the family knew President George H.W. Bush as well as Gene Becker, his longtime chief of staff. Tonight, she shares stories from her new book, Character Matters, calling it a roadmap to civility in our polarizing political climate.
This is a picture of him greeting then President Obama.
I met Gene Becker in the Houston office of former President George H.W. Bush. Becker is a journalist who became deputy press secretary for Barbara Bush in the White House, then was asked by the president to become his chief of staff once he left office.
I told him I didn't know how to be a chief of staff. I didn't know how to be a boss, do a budget. And he said, don't worry about it. We'll make it up as we go. So I said, okay, I'll stay. We never talked about it again.
And you stayed how long?
Until he died.
It was an extraordinary 25 years for this Midwest farm girl who grew up in a town of 300. I'm picturing this farm girl from Missouri working in the White House. Did you pinch yourself?
It was surreal.
Surreal and life-changing. She became like family to the President and Mrs. Bush, sharing her admiration for the President in her first book about him called The Man I Knew in 2021. Now, she's written Character Matters, a collection of essays by those who knew and worked for Bush, stories reflecting what she calls a man who led with kindness and humility, something she believes is needed today.
We don't talk to each other anymore. We yell at each other, and we tend to hang out with people who look like us, who think like us. We don't mix and mingle with people on other sides of the aisle or who don't believe what we believe.
An example of Bush leadership, she takes us back to 1988, when then Vice President Bush was running for the White House and made that famous speech at the Republican National Convention.
Read my lips. No new taxes.
But when he got into office, Becker says he realized he needed to compromise. But he raised taxes, and he paid for it.
Yes, he did. And he wrote in his diary, I probably just made myself a one-term president, but I know it's what's right for the country.
In retirement, Bush made headlines by skydiving on his birthdays. The first time, Gene says the Pentagon asked General Colin Powell to talk him out of it.
The Pentagon is terrified that you're going to jump out of a plane.
And what did he say?
I'll be fine, Colin. He loved it. He said, yeah, I'm jumping. Do you want to come? You want to jump with me? He loved it. He loved Paris. He said it was so quiet and peaceful. He just found it magical.
But it was his humility she admired most. In 1997, after touring the Bush Presidential Library in College Station with the president before it opened, she was shocked by his reaction. After the president toured the presidential library, he said it was too much about him. And you said,
it is the George Bush Library, sir. It is supposed to be about you.
So, of course, the next question, what did he want? Gene says, Mr. President wanted the library to recognize more members of his team over the years, and the library made the changes.